slow. Still learning from the lessons I ain't letting go. I'm just confessing my depression, I need medical. I wanna get it to a turn to a vegetable. I wanna think about all this shit that I'm expressing on. And it ain't healthy being left alone. And it's time to be ain't gone when it's coming home. And I've been writing all my wrongs for the sketching storm. Let me tell you about the chains and mental bondage. Swear to God to leave a pain in my stomach. Hey. Wild boys die young. Wild boys die young. At the bottom of a mountain for a message. No, I don't need no suggestions. You only get one first impression. You only get one. You only get one. I fell asleep on the phone, just well wishing. Woke up in the system, I had fell victim. Had a vision of my spirit breaking hell with him. Sent a prayer from the angels that it fell with him. Hard hoes with me, better stay to your left. School of hard knocks and we ain't play with no breath. All I found better save with your chest. You had Kevin Hart, you been playing in your dress. Something wrong with him. Why you always seem to stay up in some mess? You ain't the son of a king, boy, you been a lick. I was born in the trenches, bitch, I've been a vet. Stop trading like karma, no Benedict. Strong garment when it's storming for the benefit. On karma, I'ma get what I'm finna get. Finish the mission with a hole in my Michelin. At the bottom of a mountain for a message. No, I don't need no suggestions. You only get one first impression. You only get one. You only get one.
Depot on the beat.
I couldn't believe it, even when out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. Been double dared by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now you get to watch me get it up out of the mud. I couldn't believe it, even when I was out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. I've been double dared by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now y'all get to watch me get it up out of the mud. Now y'all get to see me without a mud. Everything that I do gon' be out of love. And I'm tired of these trials and these tribulations. And I'm sick of my name always getting drugged. But no, I ain't budge. All of this money and you not pursuing it. All of this time you don't know what to do with it. Counterproductive and counterintuitive. Why you be acting like you all brand new to it? Straight from the gutter, boy, we getting sewer. As soon as we get it, you know we gon' move it quick. All of this money I made from the block. Get out the game and invest it in stock. Bought me a whip, get the rest of it up. When you saving no stuff, man, it messes them up. We gon' be fine, but we stay on our grind. All of my niggas is stepping it up, and they foot on our neck and no letting it up. We love with the playing field, even the battle. My son is a scientist, he's splitting at us. Need us more geniuses, I know we got them. I know it's in us, I'm bringing it out. I know ain't perfect, I'm making them model on Capitol Hill, and I'm bringing them houses. The path that I'm on should nobody follow. I couldn't believe it, even when out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. Been double dared by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now you get to watch me get it up out of the mud. I couldn't believe, even when I was out of eye, and I still couldn't see it. This is much deeper than flesh and blood. Nigga, we fighting demons. I've been double dared by the devil, and I'm still undefeated. Now y'all get to watch me get it up out of the mud. We fought hard on this road this longer. Fighting each other won't make us no stronger. Honey, this nigga's been fighting this hunger. I'm at my worst and ain't getting no wronger. No change of signs, I'm making it through. I flip a chair or a table or two. They won't believe what I'm able to do. I'm making these moves, but this a new movement. My dog at the K and all praises is Nubis. I'm getting too late in my boat pack with doobies. On my way up and I break through your roofing. Shot for the moon and it made me a star. Got so much drive I can make it to Mars. Can't promise the day that I'm making tomorrow. Every time that we make is to pay what we borrow. It's to pay what we borrow. All right. Let's go ahead and get it going. Peace to everybody. Power to the dark side family. Y'all already know what time it is. It's another investing out the blue. And so today we are investing in love, right? Love and sacrifice. Today is the theme. So I'll be presenting some things. Some of these things were some of the stuff that was brought up in a debate that I had. And I will be just kind of sharing some of the information that I used in that debate. And we'll just, go from there, right? This definitely won't be a long segment. It's definitely late, but this will be something that has a little bit of a replay value, right? And so let's just go ahead and start out real quick, right? And as you can see, we're starting out. Let me go ahead and do this. Bam. It is Diane Nash's call for nonviolence and agapic energy, right? And so this debate that I was having was, in particular, we were focusing on the force. What was the force behind the civil rights movement, right? So, like, this was the title of the debate, right? What was the force behind the civil rights movement, right? And so was it love or the threat of a militant response, right? And so in this debate, my particular argument was love, right? And so what I really wanted to go into, because moving forward, when we look at the predicament that we are in right now, and the warfare that we are in the midst of, we kind of got to start thinking about what kind of weapons are we arming ourselves with as we prepare to take battle, right? And so love and sacrifice, right? And when I talk about love, I'm not talking about anything, the make-believe stuff that you see on TV or any of that. I'm talking about something that's actually finite, being willing to lay down your life for someone. And that being so important as far as us moving forward. Being able to lay down your life for a future that you do not see, for people that you do not know, right? And this is a big theme when we look at the power. Now, in this particular debate, though we were talking about the civil rights movement, I did not focus in on Martin Luther King. I actually focused in on some other civil rights leaders, other civil rights pioneers, as a matter of fact, who I would call the father of the civil rights movement. And also one of the first people that he was able to touch, the sister, was Diane Nash, right? And so Diane Nash, not the way that she basically described the type of force that was being used in the civil rights movement, she coined a term called agapic energy, right? And so this is, now agapic energy was referring to this unconditional love, right? And so, matter of fact, let's just get into it, right? And so in this article, right, we read that in the Gospel of John, how the risen Jesus gives us his gift of peace. Now, of course, you guys already know me in particular, as far as the Bible, my disconnect. But we do understand that when we are talking about the basis of black people and black culture, we cannot separate the black church, right? As a foundation. For me, I see mostly aspects of voodoo in the black church, and the reason why they latch on to the principle of Jesus is because it's a principle of sacrifice and a principle of love, right? And so that being now, the only issue that I have with it is that we don't embody, we haven't embodied the principle of Jesus since the 60s. And so what we used to see out of like Martin Luther King, that was the modern day Jesus. We seen him willing to lay down his life
for people he did not know, and also people that that he did not see. Well, and I would actually argue he was probably the only and the real Jesus, if we're gonna really talk about somebody who made a sacrifice for those he did not know. Being there is no actual historical evidence for somebody who walked on water, but that's a whole nother subject. So let's just go ahead and get into it real quick. So we deal with this principle of love, right? And so as we read in the Gospel of John, how the risen Jesus gives us his gift of peace, sends us on the mission of peace, and in particular asks Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" I pointed out that the text uses the Greek word agape. Jesus asks Peter if he has agape love, if he has agape for Jesus, if he is willing to lay down his life in a non-violent love for him, right? And this is key to this conversation. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right back into that, right? And so, like I said, recognizing that love and sacrifice being the only weapon when you talking about in war that all of us have a chance to use. Like I said, all of us can't pull a gun, all of us can't physically fight, but we all can non-participate, right? We all can sacrifice, we all can love, right? That's something that's serious, right? And so when we talk about agape energy, right, this is an unconditional willingness to lay down your life in a non-violent love, right, for one another, right? And so this was the energy, or this was the force when we talk about the civil rights movement. This was the force behind it, right? And so when and like in the story, it says that Peter can only say he has philia for Jesus, right? Philia for Jesus, right? Which is the ordinary love in Greek between friends or brothers, right? So ordinary love between friends and brothers is something that's the type of energy we need more than that, right? So 3 times Jesus invites Peter to agape, and each time Peter denied him, right? He can only go so far as philia, right? So these are 2 different kind of loves, right? So it's a different level. It's levels to the kind of love that's necessary, that we need, right? Moving forward. So let's just kind of keep going, mind you. So this was from the sister Diane Nash, the elder Diane Nash, a civil rights leader in the 60s, right? And so Civil Rights Pioneer says that love fueled the movement, published March 9th, 2017 by author Kevin Allen, right? So this is what fueled the movement, right? Was love. And so not just any kind of love, though. Agapic energy, agapic, right? Which was the unconditional willingness to lay down their lives for us and for people that they did not know, right? This is important. So no word in the English language could describe the energy that powered the civil rights movement of the 60s. So Diane Nash, right, made up a new word using the Greek word agape, right, which means love for humankind. Nash coined agapic energy to encapsulate the driving force behind the nonviolent movement that she helped lead. Now, how did I lose this debate? I have no idea, because this is kind of like I mean, if you get a civil right, we like, let me just hold on, man, because I'm sorry, I'm a little bit salty right now after reading that, so I'm about to take y'all back to the title. This was the title of the debate. What was the force behind the civil rights movement? love or the threat of a militant response, right? So, so when we go into civil rights pioneer Diane Nash, right? As we gonna get into what the work that she was able to do, right? What did she say was the driving force? Love, right? It was, and not just any kind of love. It was agapic energy, right? Which was the force behind the nonviolent movement, right? And so this nonviolence in general, as we can see, it definitely had a direct result in how policies and different things were created, right? Or in legislation, whether you deem that necessarily a win or however you deem it, it was important. And so what she said is, we needed a term that encompassed much more than simply the absence of violence, right? Nash said Tuesday while speaking at Notre Dame Law School, nonviolence is a negative term. Oh, excuse me. Skipped ahead. Nonviolence is a negative term. And what we were talking about was a very positive and very comprehensive phenomenon, right? And so, and I'm gonna have to get in and show y'all some things on Diane Nash, right? And so this is the leader. This is who actually started the civil rights movement here, right? This is Reverend James Lawson, right? And what he said was what? One of the words that he stood on was that the politics of Jesus and the politics of God are that people should be fed, that people have access to life, that people should be treated equally, justly. Lawson said, especially the marginalized, the poor, the illiterate, the jailed, the hungry, the naked. Those are all the terms Jesus uses. The alien, the stranger, the foreigner. You're supposed to treat them as you would do yourself. That's simple and plain, right? And these are principles that are embedded in us and have always been embedded in us, right? And so using and what the civil rights leaders was able to do, Reverend James Lawson and Diane Nash, what they were able to do and show was that you could weaponize, right, what some people would deem as our weakness. You could weaponize it, right? Because and right? Because, and let's just keep going for Lawson, right? The message of social justice and freedom and Jesus are inseparable, right? It's an ordained Methodist minister who traveled to India to study under the Gandhian principles of nonviolence. He imparted those ideas to Nashville college students in a calm, insistent voice that demands attention without getting loud, right? 36, the teacher. And so, so a lot of these things, when we talk about how agape, and see, this is what I'm saying by not listening, bro. Agape is in the Bible. Agapic, she made up. It just says she coined the term based off of the word that came from, and it not even come, it's from the Greek. It's from the Greek language, bro. I don't understand. Why would you even do that? Let me just put this dude up, man, on blast. And this is what I be talking about. And you see his name. This is why he's disrespecting the elders in the first place. Look at his name. No respect for his ancestors. He picking up other people's ancestors, though. This is the issue. But let's just move forward, man. Because this is about love. And so when we look at how they were able to weaponize that, and this was on a small scale, right? which is just giving us an example of how we could use this, right? And weapon, and on a larger scale, for those in the diaspora, shout out to my brother Astro is in the building. Shout out my brother Terry Smoot is in the building. I appreciate y'all, man. And so, when we look at weaponizing love in itself, right? I think, and a lot of people try to use the civil rights movement and Martin Luther King and them as being weak or scared or different things like that. But when you look at a lot of the other groups who were talking that violence and talking about taking up arms and doing different things, they were nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Diane Nash was in the trenches. Reverend Lawson was in the trenches. Martin Luther King was in the trenches. They weren't just out for show. They weren't just holding up for show. Wherever it was bad at, you better believe that they would be there. On the front line, disrupting that things. On the front line, disrupting things. And so there was nothing weak about what they used. We just didn't understand the power of this weapon. Like I said, this is a weapon that anybody can employ. Love, these are the strongest weapons that we have. Love, sacrifice. Love, sacrifice. It has to be agapic energy. It has to be. As a matter of fact, I probably would do a show in the morning, probably just titled Agapic Energy. But this will be the movement going forward. Right? We will continue to build off of what the ancestors laid down before us. Agapic energy. An unconditional, do you have an unconditional love for me? Are you willing to lay down your life for me in a nonviolent manner? Your strength don't come from your willingness to kill. Your strength comes from your willingness to die. And that's what people are really scared of. Is because we believe that it's this smooth transition over into it's like this smooth transition over into the promised land, or this, you know, I'm not afraid to use the word utopia. You know, this utopia that we dream of globally. That takes sacrifice. We talk about power. We talk about being in control of our own destiny. We talk about being in control of our own resources. Those things don't come easy. People are going to starve. People are going to die. We don't need people willing to kill. We just need people willing to starve and willing to die. The movement today, globally, for Africans in the diaspora and also on the continent, it's non-participation. We've already told you the game plan. We can try to play the capitalist game. But I'm going to tell you where that leads. When you start playing the capitalist game, somebody has to be on the bottom. It's just simple and plain. Someone has to be on the bottom. Are we doing this so we be free? So that we have the freedom that we believe is necessary for us to sustain ourselves, or are we doing this so that we can just reverse roles? My goal isn't to reverse roles. I don't think that should be our goal. And see, when we talk about the civil rights leader, Martin Luther King, when we talk about Diane Nash, we talk about Reverend Lawson, they all recognize that that was something. The level that you would have to go to, we don't have that in us. But one thing we do have is love, and we definitely have sacrifice. So we don't have to run away from that. There's no need. And so we try to look forward and think about exactly what it is that you can provide to the movement. And the strongest thing that you can provide is your non-participation. But that's going to take love, and it's definitely going to take sacrifice. It's just simple and plain. And like I said, love, this love is different. This one is the force behind this love is agapic. That's the energy that will fuel us globally. And so, I mean, like I said, man, I look forward to kind of getting back into this because I think it's been a little while since I kind of brought out the love doctrine. I really hadn't brought it out over here. But it's time that we get back into the love doctrine and show, because I've been hearing a lot of us. I mean, now we're getting the wheels rolling, right? Collectively, globally, we're able to communicate with each other at a rate that we really weren't able to communicate with each other before. So now when we look at the opportunities that we have, right, the communication that we have is allowing us to, as we say in Cali, catch that fade sometimes. Sometimes you got to catch that fade, right? And so, you know, there's been some fights between us. It's been some disagreements. It's been some disrespect. There's been lines crossed between us, but I think at the end of the day, I think that's because of a lack of information that we have on each other, and which comes from us not being able to communicate. And so the only way we get through these things is by being able to communicate. So I'm quite sure it's not going to be easy. We probably will see more of that. Right? We probably see more of it. We have our disagreements. We still have our pride in our tribes, right? You know, we're tribal here too. You know, we're definitely, it's always, you know, it's always going to be tribal. But that doesn't have to that doesn't have to get in the way of the bigger picture. They compete with themselves in ways, but they don't allow that to overtake the bigger picture. They won't allow their petty beefs with each other to put them in a position where they end up losing the grip on us. That's not gonna happen. So yeah, they may be Protestant or Baptist or whatever it is, but they're on code. And so moving forward, what do we have to do? Now, thanks to us being able to communicate with each other, we're in position to control the narrative. Our image has not been protected. We've had no control over our image. Now we have an opportunity to get it back. Think about it. When you watch TV every day, it was black women in America twerking, black men fighting and shooting, and Africa, coops everywhere, and they're starving. But once we started being able to communicate and connect, we start saying like, oh no, wait, that's not necessarily true. Now, do you see things that happen in? Do you see crime and poverty? And yeah, that's what poverty leads to, crime. Right? That's what poverty leads to, crime. Coops. Different things like that. And so, but the overall experience, that's not the case. We see people going, the land is plentiful. When you go to different YouTube sites, are you seeing black women starting their shows twerking? Not saying that twerking is bad, and I'm just gonna say that right now. I'm not saying that twerking is bad. Me personally, I don't believe that. I think it's something more so wrong with our mind when we look at different things like that, because we see a lot of dances that we did traditionally. I think kind of taught values, right? So these are definitely things that we have to kind of consider. But like I said, this wasn't gonna be a long show. They're not gonna let me be great tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end it right here, man. I think this was a good start to the love doctrine, and I definitely look forward to bringing some more out on this. Matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to go into some more on Diane Nash and let y'all know exactly who she was, what she was able to accomplish, because this is actually where the civil rights movement actually starts at, right? Like I said, let me go back. Go ahead, share screen. Like I said, when we talk about the Civil Rights Act, right? Oops, I'm trying to do that. And so we see, Reverend Lawson, of course, Diane Nash. We know, everybody knows Martin Luther King. But I'm going to get into some of the people that most people don't know, right? That a lot of people don't talk about. We talk about the civil rights movement, right? Some of the people that don't get to shine necessarily. And so I definitely will be getting into that. So this is the face right here. Remember this face, right? This is the mind behind the nonviolent movement. I know Martin Luther King was the face. And not saying that brother didn't put in, because he definitely put in the work. We definitely seen him on the front lines, right? But this brother especially too, we gotta remember this is the mind behind it. This is who taught Martin Luther King, right? This is where it gets started at, right? So, you know, for me, it's just, it's very simple. You know, we definitely do want to reverse the propaganda that we had, right? And a lot of different things. Let's see. But I think as we go along, I think we definitely got to start, you know, making sure that we just prepared to make the proper sacrifice, to show the proper love that it takes for us. And that's all that is. So with that being said, y'all already know what time it is. Power to the dark side. All of that. If y'all want, hey, and y'all need to go ahead, man, subscribe to my music channel too. OUTDABLUU 40. That's where the music at. OUTDABLUU 40, spelled the same way that you see it on here. OUTDABLUU. And then just add that 40 to it, the 40. And you definitely get some of them hot tracks, man. Get some of that good music in your life. Support, hit the like button, share this video. Even with the disruption, I think we still got some replay value here. So please do that. And with that being said, man, power to the dark side. If you are listening to this together, we are Babel. Let's build.
Counting strikes and still letting the blossom slow. Still learning from the lessons I ain't letting go. I'm just confessing my depression, I need medical. I wanna get it till it turn into a vegetable. No wanna think about all this shit that I'm expressing on. And it ain't helping, it ain't healthy being left alone. And it's time to be ain't going when it's coming home. And I'll be writing all my words for the extension. Storm. Let me tell you about the chains and mental bondage. Swear to God to leave a pain in my stomach. Hey. Wild boys die young. Wild boys die young. At the bottom of a bottle for a message. No, I don't need no suggestions. You only get one first impression. You only get one. You only get one. Asleep on the phone, just
only get one first impression.
Woke up in the system, I had fell victim. Had a vision of my spirit breaking hell with him. Sent a prayer for the angels that it fell with him. All those with me better stay to your left. School of hard knocks and we ain't play with no rest. All I found better save with your chest. You had Kevin Hart, you been playing in your dress. Something wrong with him. Why you always seem to stay up in some mess? You ain't the son of a king, boy, you Menelik. I was born in the trenches, bitch, I've been a vet. Stop trading like karma, no Benedict. Strong armor when it's storming for the benefit. On karma, I'ma get what I'm finna get. Finish the mission with a hole in my Michelin. At the bottom of a bottle for a message. No, I don't need no suggestions. You only get one first impression. You only get one. You only get one.
introduce a little.